Hey guys, what's up? It's Pyro here, back for a vlog, and I was just driving my car there. Boom, boom. I would beat my horn, but it's like 3 a.m. and I'm in a bit of a residential area, so I kind of don't want to do that. I was just driving for about 20 minutes there. I usually like to drive when I've got something on my mind, and I figured like I haven't done a vlog in a while, and vlogs to me are very therapeutic, if that makes sense, just having something to talk to. So I figured, why not do one? Discuss what's going on in my life right now and what I'm planning to do, and see if anyone has any suggestions, I guess. But I guess I'll just go back to August. Like, everything was going really well in my life in August, and I was just going to the gym every day. I'm not a big buff dude by any means, but I just liked going to the gym because it made me feel good. And I always try to do that. I always try to get myself in, a good state of mind. I was doing things like meditation, just, focusing on my breath for 20 minutes per day and bringing myself back to just, present moment. And, sorry, there's like a hair in my mouth. I need a haircut badly, actually. I've been putting it off for so long, but, I was doing meditation and eating really healthy and just, working on side projects. I feel like I'm going to burp as well, so if I do burp, sorry. I was making like a big stir fry earlier and, ate it all, and somehow stir fries do not go down too well on my stomach, but I keep eating them because they're so nice. But anyway, my sleeping pattern is messed up as per usual, by the way, if you're wondering. That's why it's so dark outside. It's like 3:30 a.m. But, so August, really well. I was just doing really good things, habits and stuff every day. And, just really enjoying myself. And then went to Amsterdam to meet up with Arcus, and I came back, hopped back on the wagon, because I follow the schedule sometimes when I'm, when I'm traveling, I guess, and I came back, and just there were some events that went on in my own personal life, I guess, that kind of just threw me off the wagon, like, through all the progress I'd made. Excuse me, just burping there. Go ahead, Pyro, professional. And all the progress that I'd made, it kind of just threw it off. And it just made me really paranoid, in case something like that happened again. And I'm just in this constant state, like when I'm at home, of paranoia all the time, in case, I don't want to go into too much details, but the event that happened, I'm afraid of it happening again. And I was trying to think, like, because when I was younger, I had to go and see a therapist for anxiety, and it was basically the therapist taught me some cognitive behavioral therapy, just basic techniques I can use to rationalize my thoughts. He taught me about cognitive biases and how to calm down when I think really anxious thoughts. I was thinking, like, when in my life did I feel the least anxious, if that makes sense? And for me, it was definitely when I was at university. And I think that was because, for me, like, I don't mind my problems too much, but when it comes to my family's problems, or when there's something ongoing in one of my family members' lives, like whether that be my parents, my brother, or, my cousins, or even my aunt or uncle, like, I just get really, I share sort of the anxiety or the anxiousness to that event, if that makes sense. And that has always been something I've been doing. I had to pause the recording there because I kept burping. I know, I not professional, so I had to cut it. But the birds are starting to wake up. It's like 4 a.m. almost, so they're all waking up now. But we're back where I was saying that I'm always very paranoid and anxious about other people's problems as well as mine. I really don't have too much problems myself, but I have the burden of taking on other people's problems, and looking after yourself is hard enough, as it is. So trying to carry the weight of, 4, 5, 6 other people on your back is quite the load. And ultimately, I was thinking, like, when did I not feel like this? And for me, it was university, because, I was living by myself, 3 other friends, but I was living far away from my family, that I didn't see them every day, and I wasn't really aware of events ongoing in their life, and I was kind of oblivious to a lot of things. And I know that's kind of selfish in a way, because, you should help your family where possible, but just not knowing every single detail of what's going on for me really helped. So obviously you could apply that to here. Like, what could I do? Move out. Move out is the simple solution. You're probably thinking, Power, why don't you move out? And like, that's the thing. I'm starting to look for apartments, and I'm tallying up all my finances. Like, I do have money in the bank, don't get me wrong, but a lot of that money is for tax. Every January and every July, you have to pay tax here in the UK, and the way it works is you pay payments on account. So let's say I owe like $5 to the government come January. Now, in reality, you know, you owe a lot more than that. You know, I'm just using that as a figure of speech. So I think in UK it's about 20 to 30% of your income you get taxed on after a certain threshold. So like, I think it's like £8,000, £9,000 that you don't get taxed on, and then everything after that you get taxed on. So you know, I owe money in terms of tax every January and July. That's no problem. But the way it is the payments on account, like, that really messes me up because I have to pay 1.5 what I usually pay. You know, so let's say I owe $5, I have to pay $7.50, if you get me, because you pay last year's tax and then this year's tax on top of that from the payments on account. So I would pay $7.50 in January, and then come July I would pay an extra $2.50, you know, to make up for that. That would be the last payment on account, if that makes sense. I'm not really good at explaining stuff like that, but I have enough money to pay my tax in my bank account, and then a little bit more that I live off each month, because right now I kind of live, you know, paycheck to paycheck, I guess you could say. But with the correct financing, you know, I could move out, because most apartments here are like £400 to £500 a month, and you know, that would be a sizable amount of my monthly income. But at the same time, I could budget it correctly to move out if I kept like a strict hold on my finances. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, moving out, even though it would cost me so much and it would take quite a bit away of what I earn each month, just for the mental health, you know, for my own mental health, and not worrying so much, and just being out of my house, because my house doesn't have that much space, you know. There's 5 people living in it, and really there should only be 4 people living in it, to be honest. So, you know, I share a room with my brother, and there's 2 beds in that room, whereas really, you know, it should be 1 person to 1 room. So there really is no privacy, and it just eats up at you, to be honest. And just being anxious about everything lately, like, for example, something as stupid, like my granny has to go in for an operation, like a very small operation, and yet me knowing that, like, I'm just paranoid about all the things that will happen. And I think just removing myself from you know, seeing my family every day. Like, I love my family, don't get me wrong, I know everyone loves their family, but it's just like every small thing that I pick up on, like every small problem that's going on in my family's life, I always, like, you know, think worst case scenario, like. And that goes back to when I was younger. I had to go and see a therapist, as I told you. Like, you know, when there was prediction of like heavy floods, I would think the world is going to end, or when I couldn't get in contact with a family member. Or that's just the wind. I was wondering if someone was walking up behind me there. If I couldn't get in contact with a family member, I would assume they died. Like, that's how bad I was. And, you know, although that has minimized quite a bit, you still have some of the sort of baggage left over from that. You know, I don't think anxiety or like any sort of even thing like that really goes away. At least in my experience, you just learn to manage it a bit more, and it just seeps back in sometimes. And I think, you know, that personal event in my life that happened last month kind of just like opened up the gates a little bit more, and I'm just super paranoid about things happening. And I don't know, like, I'm really nervous about moving out because I'm afraid of moving out and then not having enough money to support myself. And I'm trying to combat that by, like, I have my degree, of course, which is in computer science. And I could get a job. But the thing is, like, to get myself back up to your level, like, I still program part-time, but not as much as I would like to. But, you know, there's certain when you apply for a job, there's certain things they want you to do and technologies they want you to learn. So while I may be good at like programming and like C sharp, if I want to get a job in C sharp, I need to know, ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC, JavaScript. I know a bit of JavaScript. I need to know all this different ways of doing things. So like think of it as learning how to like what example could I use? I don't know. It's like I know the core fundamentals, if you get me, but learning all these other extra technologies on top of it, and to learn those, I would need to set aside some time, and I've been trying to do that the past month or two, and just anytime I've tried to devote myself to learning, like that, my YouTube has fell behind, and just seeing my YouTube fall behind like worries me, because if I move out, YouTube is how I'm supporting myself, and how am I meant to support myself if my YouTube isn't doing well? And my YouTube, I need to rely on YouTube to sort of pay for the next 4 to 5 months of my life in terms of rent before I can get myself to a standard where I can get a job full time for programming. And that just sort of worries me, because with YouTube you can't really predict how it's gonna go, and it goes up and down. I mean, my YouTube for the most part has been sort of consistent for the past 3 or 4 years. I've been getting about 1 million views a month. You can check all this on socialblade.com. You can check, how many views people are getting. So what, I think the worst I've ever done in the past 3 years is like 500,000 views, and that was during university when I was going through exams. But even now, I'm doing it full time, and I think like this month hasn't started off exceptionally well for me, and it's just like, again, that anxiety going back to it. It's kind of like, I'm thinking worst case scenario, like what if my YouTube channel just completely dies in the next 2 months? And that sort of, worries me, because if I'm going to make the decision to move out, 2 months from now, how am I gonna pay for things, and how am I gonna, fund things? So I can't really move out, and I have to stay here, and I'm just really anxious here, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of like wondering what to do. I could go and try and get another job, like waiting tables or something to do part-time while I'm doing YouTube, but I've never really done that before, because like I've been doing that's the double-edged sword, like I love YouTube, but the bad thing is I've been doing YouTube since I was 15, so I've never really had another job bar YouTube, so I haven't really got any experience in the real world, bar that. I guess I was blessed in a way to be able to do YouTube so young, but at the same time it kind of took away a lot of those early experiences people need in their work career. Like stuff like going to interviews. Like I've been to like 1 or 2 interviews in my life, whereas other people probably have been to 5, 10, 15, 20. So it is kind of worrying, and I really don't know where to go, to be honest. I don't know whether I should move out and just hope everything falls into place. I guess like part of me wants to do that. Part of me is kind of thinking, move out and light a fire under your ass, because if I do that, it's a lot easier running away from fear than it is running towards a goal. That's basic human motivation. If someone's chopping at your ass with a fire, you're a lot more likely to run. So I'm thinking like, if if I do move out, my YouTube channel does get to a point where I can't really live off it anymore, I'm gonna have to go and get another job, and whether that is learning to program even more, or what is that? It's a bus. I was like, what is that? Whether that's learning to program like even faster, or whether that's going to pick up a job waiting tables or something, I'll deal with that when it comes, and that's sort of the approach I want to take. But I don't know. It's a couple of months down the line, and I sort of automatically think worst case scenario. So it's I don't know. I don't really. I would like an outsider perspective. I've been trying to stream a little bit more, to be honest, just to get a little bit of extra money coming in. But streaming isn't really profitable unless you have like a really big you have like a couple hundred people watching. I don't mind, because I do enjoy the streaming aspect. It's just that I wish I could stream more, but it eats into my time making videos and trying to do the programming stuff, and trying to really just do things that make me feel good, if that makes sense. Like being a human's hard, man. Being a human's hard sometimes, and um, I wish I could do all these things, but it's definitely tough sometimes. I guess the one thing I've got to look forward to is I'm going to San Francisco in November with all the man crackers, so that should be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. It should be really good. You know, I haven't seen a lot of the guys in like a year, so it's gonna be great seeing them. But maybe I can get some advice there. I've been talking to Chad a lot. Chad's really helped me out with this predicament, so I want to thank Chad. Thank you, Chad, if you're watching this. And so yeah, it's just like I'm a bit confused on what to do right now, and I don't know. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. I would appreciate it. It's actually starting to get really light. Can you see my face? No, I can't see my face yet. But it's starting to get like pretty early, so I'm gonna upload this. If you could give me some feedback, I would appreciate that. I would like an outsider perspective. And if you somehow made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. I mean, I know sitting through 10 minutes, 15 minutes of me talking the biggest load of crap, you know, isn't exactly the easiest thing to do, but let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you later. So yeah, bye-bye.